Dr. Balcells.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you all the speakers for your excellent presentation. I am a doctor, medical doctor and practitioner, and currently I am in the Technological Center Leitat as a commissioner on the health. But I have been in the different positions in the public system and healthcare public system. And for me and for all the people that has some responsibility in the healthcare, the additive manufacturing is especially interesting for the future. But we have, and I have, a lot of questions for you and for the future. Because you talked a lot about customization. But about the final prices for the patients, what do you think about?
You start?
Well, in terms of price positioning, of course, you can imagine that this personalized product will have a slightly higher price than a comparable product without any customization. Of course, there have been a lot of studies just checking what the consumer would be willing to pay for this extra customization or for this personalization. And we're trying to make this product as competitive, as much competitive as possible to make it affordable for them. And of course, the prices will vary from country to country because the competitive landscape is also changing from country to country.
And in your case?
From my perspective, the important is it okay? You hear? Yeah. From my perspective, the most important is not the price, but the cost. The cost, and when you compare cost with a standard solution versus a customized solution, you have to incorporate into analysis different things that we normally don't consider in the standard cost. Previously, when I'm trying to explain what we do, I mentioned that we come from a product to a solution. So the solution incorporates different elements of cost. For example, if you make a customized plate for bone fixation, and if you only compare the price of the plate, probably the plate will be more expensive. But if you incorporate into analysis that you don't need stock, that probably the time of the surgery will be a half. So, and when you understand all the different types of cost, at the end, when you put it all together, your customized solutions probably will be cheaper than the standard solution. So I think it's a little bit more complex than only analyzing the price of the product. We have to incorporate a little bit more scope in the analysis.
In your opinion?
Yes, I mean, as I said before, how much does it cost the patients? And we will have for sure a different income scenario in 7.5 billion people on this world. And on the other hand, we have also in most of our constitutions guaranteed the right for health. So where do we find each other? Do we find states in difficulties where we have lots of turnover in the population, for example, due to migration? Who is paying for that? And my answer, I have already given that during my lecture. It's of course provocative, but probably together with the help of additive manufacturing, we can look for those parts that are left over which could not be caught by prevention, because prevention would everything downsize to zero. This means that also prevention, if we look at it as a pure cost factor, then prevention, that we can say, there are studies out there, costs as much as functional rehabilitation. But let's say the major effect of oral prevention, for example, in benefits for general health, that would be multitude.
And for you?
Yes, I agree totally with my colleague Gerhard Seeberger, because I think that a new era is introducing by these new technologies, because we can produce this medical manufacturing, also medical instruments in the land that we use there. And then we can see the use of this manufacturing also in places that they don't have a big industries, big technologies. And the second thing that in the medical sector, I think, but I'm speaking about the dental sector, is the customization of the manufacturing. Because we have a lot of instruments that we have to maintain in our offices, because we have to adapt these instruments to our patients. And with these technologies, I think that we can have saving cost with the use of this material for only one patient every time. Only one patient, and this is a technology, a complex technology, but we save a lot of materials, a lot of instruments, a lot of procedures also, that a lot of time. We save a lot of time in the chain of our therapies. And an important thing that I want to say is that this is not to be automatically. Never. Every time is important to have the central position of the medical or dental professionals, because if we leave the the self-medication, the self-therapy to the patient, directly to the patient, is really dangerous for the health of the citizens.
Okay, excellent. There are a lot of people. It's a familiar round table, and maybe if you have some questions, is the moment from the public. Somebody have some question? Well, for me, a second question for all the speakers. You are working in the medical devices and implants, and I think, do you have some barriers, technological barriers, in your current work every day? No? What are for you the current technological barriers for bioprinting in this moment? Technological barriers.
The technological barriers.
Well, if you want, I can just ask from my side.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we have barriers for the mass production. We need more speed, sometimes in the 3D printing. This is one of the things that I think improving of the speed of the technology. Speed is something, and of course availability of materials and capacity to use several materials in single machines. Now still we have to use a single machine for single material. And every day, more and more, we will be using different materials with same type of machines.
And for you?
I would say that for our industry, it's always important to differentiate the two sides of the table, or the two kind of offers that you can give. So on one side, you have the mass production, so products that you can take from the shelf and then try to adapt them to you. But also we have the handcrafted part, or the personalized part that are, producing one by one. What 3D printing is allowing us, or the additive manufacturing is allowing our industry, is to move into mass customization. So to save cost, to bring also up to speed the production and enabling those products to the end consumers for a reasonable cost, but also with the most amount of personalizations that you can offer to the end user. And thanks to 3D printing or 3D manufacturing, we have now this enabler in the market. That's the beauty of this.
Fantastic. And Mr. Seeberger?
Yes, very shortly, my eyes are looking to something which reminds me of one part of my slides. I think we're very much on this old trotting horse again. And we could be on a Formula, well, I think that's Formula 3 race car in terms of speed. We could speed up, especially when we involve with or in the additive manufacturing process artificial intelligence. This shall be a fusion in the future in order to be more effective, in order to be more cost effective, and in order to reach a larger scale of producers. Like today, I have a printer at home, I can print everything what I want on paper. Why not printing everything what I want in a 3D printer? It's just a higher dimension. But costs are still very high, not only for, let's say, the single user, the single dentist. I'm speaking, of course, of my profession, but also maybe for some group practices and so forth. So still we have to work on this, but together with the input of artificial intelligence, I think we can get there. Already we have models out there that these high technology or high technology devices are given away with what? Not with knowledge. The future is in knowledge, but it's given away with a certain number of implants. So that's for sure not the right way to go. Thank you.
And Mr. Delogu?
I think that one barrier is certainly the knowledge of all the professionals, because I think that this is really a big point that we have to focus on. We have to improve this as a dental association or medical association. We have to improve this because the future is now, and we have to have a lot of operators that are really conceivably, really conscious about this. And the other barriers, I think, that are the studies about the materials, the biological materials, with our implication in the application of the human. With a particular attention, I think, with the bacterial barrier. This in the future will be a big problem, the infection. And then this material, there will be a really particular attention to prevent the infection.
Okay. Yes. One more. Okay. Yes. 5 minutes? No. No. Finish. Okay. We're finishing this time.
I'm sorry, we have to keep things moving on. We have more speakers. We have a full plate.
See.
I'm so sorry. You get to come
Thank
back.
you
You're moderating the next group. A round of applause, okay? I'm so sorry. We have to keep things moving along. Preeminent representatives in their fields